Alrighty, everybody. Welcome to campus. For whom is it the first time here in Tilburg? Or you've all been here, maybe. Oh, for you, it's the first time on campus? No. All right. But is it your first physical lecture? Like, who started? Who started this February? Like today, actually, yesterday. I think you started, right? Everybody almost did. All right. Cool. So I'm Hannes. I'm teaching in this program. I teach 2 classes, and chances, you won the lottery and you have 2 classes with me. This block, I'm a technical nerd, and I'm weird in marketing because everything that marketeers did when I came in was like, I don't know, study retailing data, but I wasn't interested in that. So when I did my PhD at Maastricht University, and that's already a long time ago, I just got my own data because I scraped the data from the internet, and people looked at me and they said, like, this is weird. Why don't you buy data like we do? And I was poor and I didn't have money as a PhD student. So that was my only way. And people looked at me and they were like saying, this is not going to take him anywhere. But today, actually 20% of all the publications in our marketing journals, where academics care, managers care less, but academics care a lot about these things. 20% of these publications are based on web data, right? So, sometimes you have this weird idea and a weird feeling that, stuff is happening and you just like follow up. And that's what I did. And that's why I'm standing here today to talk about this. And I set up this course, and even when I set up this course, people were like, people don't need it. Actually, it's easy. No, it's not. It's hard. People take data that they find on the internet as given, right? They think like, yeah, this is like reviews on Amazon, right? And I can just get that data and analyze it. But they don't get, and I'm teaching you that by the way you gather this data, by the way you instruct your computer, you can change that data. And you can give the data meaning. All right, there is one example that I want to give, right? If you look at Amazon or Bol.com right now, and you're scraping reviews, that is, you're collecting, by the way, I need to see, do you actually, perfect, good, the sound is good. So yeah, this was like a spontaneous setup. I didn't think about it that much. So imagine you go to Bol.com right now, right? And you're scraping, that is like you're copying down all the reviews for, I don't know, the latest iPhone, all right? You do that again in a week from now, and you notice that some of those reviews disappeared. What could be potential reasons that, the reviews that were there today are not there in a week? Come up with some reasons. Why could that happen? Technical glitches? Well, yes, maybe, but what else? Why could Bol maybe delete reviews? Yes, exactly, right? So just by scraping the website twice, or 100 times, because computers, they're like machines, right? You can just like instruct the computer to do whatever you want. So let's get this guy, let's just get this computer make a copy of reviews every day. And because then we're able to observe that reviews are deleted, we suddenly know which reviews are fake. And we have a research question that we can like ask, right? We can like ask, can you, what predicts fake reviews? And we can do a text analysis of the factors that predict whether a review gets off the web. So it's amazingly cool, but people don't get that because they think like, yeah, this is data and let me just analyze it. But I've come to that conclusion that it's, these guys are wrong, right? What we need to do is we need to carefully think about how we capture that data. And that is what this course is all about. And it's about so much more. But this is a wrong slide deck for, let me see, I compiled the wrong slide deck. Give me just a second, I need to post it. This is weird. Yeah, I just need to compile the other deck. Hopefully I didn't overwrite anything. There you go, sorry for that. Let me just see. So by the way, you can like open your laptops if you want, and you can tag along with this slide deck. So especially the guys on Zoom, I don't know whether the Zoomers hear me or not. Let me just see, grab slides. Let me just do that real quick. somewhat have difficulties getting this thing up. Just a second. Just give me a second. Sorry for that. Startup problems. All right. Okay, so the slides are up in like a minute or so. So I'll continue on my laptop for now, and you'll see the real slides in a bit. So for the ones who join on Zoom, great that you do. So please turn on your camera if you want to ask a question and use the chat. Maybe I can instruct a couple of people to log in on Zoom too, mute yourself and alert me to questions, because I'll need to jump like all over the place to like kind of keep track of everything. It's the first time I'm teaching hybrid. So maybe somebody can like just log into the Zoom room and make sure if there's a good question and then just ask that question on the behalf. Yeah, thanks, man. All right. So yeah, and if you haven't done so, go to the course page, but hopefully not obviously to DPrep, but to ODCM. And you'll find that slide deck in just a bit. So let me update it. Hopefully this already worked. Yes, it did. So we're back. So first of all, I want to get to know you. And I also want to share a couple of personal things about myself. Actually, like the nice thing is we have the opportunity to interact again. And actually, I thought I didn't miss teaching, but I did miss teaching like to real people. It's really different. And you just tell different stories. Then I'll explain a little more about the motivation. I already gave you a bit of that motivation, but there's even more to tell. I almost got sued because I do these things. So like, you know, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I need to tell you. And then I'll introduce the course framework and learning goals. And we don't use, you know, the full time probably. So let's see. So yes, it's my first live lecture in 2 years. I mentioned that to you. So slow me down, and especially the ones on Zoom, use the chat, and we'll have some people address those questions. This is also the only live lecture in this class, unless you, I don't know, convince me to come to campus to, I don't know, have some additional sessions or whatever, because the course is an online first course. It was even conceptualized before the pandemic hit. And why I move this class online is that we do lots of technical stuff, and I need to look at your screens all the time. And I also need to do stuff on your computer all the time, which we do digitally, so everybody else can see your screen. It just doesn't work, because right now I could just like go and approach you. What's your name, by the way? Luke. So I could just go to Luke and do some coding, and you don't see it, right? There's no tech that does do this well. But if you think like it's cool to have a discussion because we need to like creatively brainstorm, then you know we could plan a session on campus too. But mostly we'll, almost exclusively will be online, and it's complementary. So it means like you can't just like go to the live streams and don't do your self-study, or the other way around. So you need to do both things. This is really, really important. And the course website is as rich as an entire book. So please make a lot of use of that site, use the search function. And if you find errors or if you find things that are unclear, let me know, because we can change the site and make it better for next students to come. This is probably also the last slide deck I will ever make in this class. Just like we don't need slides, we need like practice, right? So, but these slides are posted. This is not a class that like teaches you Python. Like we use Python, which is one of the most prominent scripting languages in data science and marketing analytics. But like if you don't invest like time, you know, it will be very tough for you. So you really need to spend a lot of effort learning that language. I'm not a Python teacher. I'm a teacher of data collections. I know a lot about Python, but you got to do that work. And it's heavy lifting for many. And I realize that. As a consequence, actually, of the student feedback that I got last year, we cut some material to give you extra time to invest in this. So use that time. We have estimated the workload of this course to be at the upper end for what we can do. So it's going to be about 90 hours, and I can do between like 75 to 90 hours. So this is going to be tougher than, you know, a usual, I don't know, course that you take, where the average is maybe 80 hours. It's just like there's so much new stuff, and I need to get you up to speed. So I hope you can tag along. If not, you can always talk to me, and we can, you know, see whether, I don't know, there are extra tutorials that I can like kind of give you that you can get back up to speed. We will have a mix of students from different levels. Like who's a coder? Like who has written stuff and, I don't know, R or Python? Yes. What do you do? Like, oh yeah, that's good. All right. So who else? Yes.
Yeah, I'm a minor. I did a minor in data business.
Oh, cool. So what did you do there? In R. All right. Good. Anybody else? Yes. Yes. And what packages do you use in R? Yeah, dplyr. All right. Cool. And who's using Python? Nobody. Really? Any other computing language? Okay. So who has never like actually ever programmed? Oh, that's good. That's good. So why? That's a good question actually to ask. Like, what do you do? Like, can I ask you a question? Like, what did you study before? I don't know.
The last 3 years I did bachelor HBO international business.
Good. All right. What are other study programs of those that haven't coded? There were many. So give me some ideas of what your background is. Yes. Business economics. Okay. So give me like a topic of what do you study for your bachelor thesis, or I don't know. Like, yeah. Okay, cool. Other people.
Business administration.
Okay. And no programming experience from that program. All right. Now I got to tell you, you missed out on something, right? So the reason, like, okay, I was a bachelor student in business administration 2 years ago, right? And I had a programming class in that program. We used Visual Basic. So Visual Basic it's like a tool built inside Excel. Back in the days, Excel was the tool to do data analysis, right? And if you press like Alt F11 on your keyboard, a whole programming environment like pops up in Excel. You can do that right now. Like just open. I don't know whether it's still there, but it was there at the time. Alt F11. I don't know even whether you know what the shortcut is. But a whole back-end programming stuff pops up, and that's a way to automate Excel. Like not use VLOOKUPs, which maybe for some of you is the furthest you've gone in Excel, but you can do things that Excel just doesn't know how to do. Like, I don't know, you just write programs to automate everything. So for example, I wrote a program in Excel, which is weird because like usually you don't think you write programs in Excel, to scrape websites in Amazon. I did that I'm getting old, in 2008. So I was a bachelor student at that time in Germany, where I'm originally from. And there was like a PhD student whom I looked up to. And this guy said like, hey, Hannes, can you get me some data? And I always had like the feeling that you know, I have a passion for computers and I can do it. So I wrote like a program in Excel that kind of extracts this web data from Amazon.com at that point in time. Okay. But the story that I did want to tell to you guys is like when I learned Visual Basic at the time, my lecturer said, this is a skill you should never tell anybody that you have. You just use it secretly because you can automate your work, all right? And that is why those people that haven't done coding, you know, where I want to get you on board. Okay, when you code, you automate stuff. You teach your computer to do stuff that you, because you're way too intelligent, think is too boring. It takes too much of your time. It takes too much of your effort. Just outsource it to your computer, all right? In terms of collecting data, obviously, we can just do like copy paste, put it in Excel and, you know, make it look nice and reformat and we're good and we can do our analysis, right? But then you get like 100 reviews for like one product category. I don't know, right? If you learn to code, you can do that at scale. You do it for 1 million of products over an entire year. And now opportunities start to arise. Maybe this is a business opportunity, right? So when I first started teaching at Tilburg, I invited a firm to campus It was called Music Metrics. It was founded by an HBO, no, it was led, the general manager was a HBO student from Tilburg, but this company was based in London. What they did is they built scrapers to scrape the Facebook likes, the number of Facebook likes for music artists. That's how they started. College students from the UK, but at that time, that HBO student from Tilburg, he was in his mid-40s, I'd say, led that company. And then Instagram popped up, and then they added Instagram likes. And they were like, ooh, it's weird because, like, I don't know, Michael Jackson on Facebook has the username Michael_Jackson or something. And then on, I don't know, some other accounts where his music was promoted, it was written differently, right? Maybe King of Pop, or I don't know. This is a weird example, but I'm saying, like, social media profiles, they use different names, right? You know that from yourself. So they built linkages between those. So they could exactly know, all right, this music artist had so and so many streams on Spotify, so and so many Facebook likes, and so and so many, I don't know, likes on Instagram. And you say, well, yeah, that's boring, but it is a scraping-based business. You know what happened a year later that this person presented this firm in Tilburg? The firm got bought by Apple for 150 million euros because Apple launched Apple Music. And they needed data to feed their recommendation algorithms. Because, if you are on Apple Music and you're listening to artist A, they want to suggest you, artist B to listen to. But they didn't have the data because they were not a music streaming service. They just had iTunes at the time. So that wasn't the data. So they just bought the data. That's scraping data that you bought. And they made that valuable by extracting data at scale. All right. So that's kind of my pitch for everybody that didn't do coding before. It's not hard. It is very hard, but then it's not, right? You need to get started, and I'm here to help you get going. But you need to invest. And there are so many untapped opportunities, not only to collect data, but like to do amazing stuff. By the way, I'm not a computer scientist. I'm a marketer. So I do many mistakes still when I code. And that's part of it. So, it's not a reason not to start. And consider me your coach, not, Professor so-and-so. I'm just like, yeah, this is way easier if we have like a common understanding and can just talk how we think we want to say stuff. And this course is online first. I mentioned that. Boo-boo. Oh, by the way, our chat has experience and you missed the chat. Let me see. So, Kos, you've experienced in Python. Cool. Let me just read that.
Thank you. I decided to do it.
Oh, yes. No private messages, guys. You need to first put it publicly. Good. Let's get going. So yeah, I'm originally from Germany. I'm married. I got 2 kids who love Super Mario. I don't know. It's coming back. I don't know whether you're as crazy. I mean, I grew up and back in the 90s and there was Super Mario everywhere. And then I kind of forgot about it. And now it's back with my kids. And I just love playing, I just love playing games with them. So it's cool. Maybe it's even too early for the youngest one, but I don't care. So it's cool. So I'm a geek at heart. I do 3D printing. I do lots of coding. I started skateboarding, which doesn't really relate to 3D printing. But anyways, I broke my arm in October and it still hurts, but I hope I can get back soon. I'm interested in streaming music models, like streaming business models. Like I said in the introduction, I started scraping that data because I'm just passionate about that context. And now it's my entire research agenda. And I don't know, radio stations, TV stations, they call me because they want my opinion. Today itself, I'm on the radio because of this, because you may have heard Neil Young has withdrawn music from Spotify. There is like a big outrage. And the journalists, they want to talk to me to kind of give them an interpretation of what's going on. And it just turns out I'm actually studying this for 2 years, not in particular about Neil Young, but I'm using data I have collected the way I teach you how to collect data to assess how powerful Spotify is compared to the music labels that own the music on the platform. So it's like super topical. And that's also one of the benefits of why web data is so cool, because it decreases the time between, the phenomenon that occurs, like streaming or Neil Young taking stuff out of the market, and me as a researcher trying to study it, right? Normally, back in the days, you have like, people use supermarket data, and then it took like months until that supermarket data would actually be available for you to analyze. I don't think supermarkets are that exciting to begin with, but now we can do it almost in real time. And that's a key benefit for this. I also do bread and butter marketing topics like marketing mix modeling, but I'll tell you more about that in data preparation and workflow management. I'm really interested in this data management stuff, online data collections, and a bunch of other stuff. And I teach finally back on campus. So discourse and data prep. I do master thesis supervision, and there's a website for my students, but actually anybody who is doing marketing analytics, I really recommend you go through that site. Maybe it contains useful tips. It's open source, so you can even change the site if you like. I don't care. So I run a bunch of other initiatives. I'll tell you more about Tilburg Science Hub later. I have a YouTube channel, but I don't have that many followers. So if you can follow me, that's making me feel better. I share computer code, and I do a bunch of other things. So you find a couple of links, and that slide deck is online. And now I want to get to know you. I know some of you now. I just know now one name, Luke. Okay, but names is gonna be hard because I'm used to having like digital name tags on Zoom. So I won't promise that I will remember all the names, but I do want to know you. So why are you here? Why are you studying this program? Are you like, fuck, did I sign up for this program? Maybe, I don't know. So why are you here? What do you want to learn? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? What's your ambition? You want to get started. I see that. Yes. You want.
My bachelor, I did marketing courses, but they were always a bit fake, like one was fake, fake.
Vague, yeah.
And I want to know more about how we work with data and
Okay, cool. What define vague? Some weird conceptual framework, huh?
Very general
like
stuff.
Oh, general stuff. Okay.
specific on certain topics.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you find interesting? Like, where do you spend your time? Like, what do you do in your free time when you're like not on Zoom, or I don't know, pre-pandemic? I don't know. What do you do in your free time?
I'm going to gym.
Yeah.
Football.
Huh.
And go with my friends.
Yeah, nice. What are other things that you do? So are we gonna like, okay, so like in terms of background, let's talk a bit about study programs. So give me some more idea of like, what are you interested in? So we got a couple of hobbies. Yes.
I did my thesis for the bachelor in marketing automation.
Okay, cool. So give me again some more ideas about marketing automation. Sorry?
I worked at Dutchbot,
Yes.
and I was just really interested in how it's possible to make such good flows and why would you do that.
Ah, interesting.
To go more into the numbers and what are the things.
Okay, cool. So if there was like one thing that you could study in marketing, and don't think like of what you've read or something, don't even talk about marketing, right? What is it that excites you? What do you see outside where you think like, huh, what is this? Like, why is it happening? That could potentially be relevant to marketing. You know, I was at a party in Hamburg, and I met a guy from Sweden who was probably one of the first users of Spotify because it didn't exist at that time. Like, it wasn't in the Netherlands at that time. And I was just like blown away. Because I've never seen such a platform before where I could listen to everything that I like, right? And then I started to study it. So I'm looking for these kind of things. So and it can be completely not in marketing, because you can be the next guy introducing something to marketing, right? So what is it? What is it? You need to give me some ideas about what is it that you could potentially study, because ultimately you're going to work on a project and you're actually going to collect data. What do you see? What are you interested in? My chat support.
Music.
Music. Okay, what are you interested in music? Oh, interesting. All right. So, but what is it that you find like intriguing? Or you can just collect data, but then what's your problem? Like if you is there like a challenge that you face with the band of becoming more popular, becoming listed on playlists, I guess? Lack of streams. All right. So what do you do to? Yeah, so here you got your problem. You could study it, right? You know, you could study it on platforms such as Chartmetrics. They have APIs. You also learn how to use APIs in this class. You use their API to pull in metric data. And what you can do is you can compute artists and songs that are similar to the kind of music that you produce, and you can identify their playlisting strategies. You know, what playlist do they get listed, and why do we not get listed? Like, there's a whole entire thing that you can do of real relevance. I want to hear more of these kind of stories, right? So what do you do in your free time? What is it? Yes,
I watch a lot of movies and series.
exactly. So what do you find fascinating about movie streaming?
When I use Netflix and you see a series or movie which you didn't see before, then it says how many percent it would be library.
Yes.
So it's 95% something for you.
And so you use that to make decisions on whether you watch something or not.
Yeah.
So what could be potential? Do you see that elsewhere in other platforms? Is it unique to Netflix? Is it?
Yeah, I have video long too, and it's on Netflix. So
Yeah.
maybe it's something.
Yeah. And do you feel you're more hooked to Netflix than Videoland?
Well, my boyfriend is also using my Netflix and
Yeah.
he's watching something else that I like. So, but most of the time it's still true.
Yeah. It's something that you can study. There is a service called Tracked TV, and you've got an international user base that submits automatically every time that they watch a stream on any platform. They submit it to that aggregating platform, Tracked.tv. I study it. So a PhD student at Tilburg is collecting data, and her name is Bobby. I don't know whether you meet her in teaching. She's amazing. And she came up with that idea, and I had this idea about the platform, and now it's like, yeah, it's coming together. And we study how people make decisions about which platform to use as a function of originals and exclusives of the services. You're actually not limited by your ideas. I want more ideas. What are you interested in?
I'm interested in sports.
Yes. What is it in, I don't have a clue. So what is it in fitness that you can like?
Oh, your body is very complicated, and it's very interesting to see how you can improve it by sporting, but not only that, also by using the right supplements and superfoods.
Amazing. So where is the data for this? What data would you need?
Data on what the perfect amount of supplements is.
No, you don't need that. You just need data. Your model will tell you. That's the misconception, right? So what you need to do is you need to collect data. Let's say, okay, so if there is a tracked TV for sport, all right, for fitness, right, where people log what they eat, how much they weigh, when they're, is there such a thing? Yeah, there you go. All right, so you got to look at that website, and then what you can do with DeepRep, well, you know, with the tools that you learn in DeepRep, you can build an econometric model to tell you what the optimal path is. You can also build a model of recommendations, right? So that's your business idea. I don't know whether you're up for earning some money, but some are. So what you could do is you first invest into this prototype data collection. You develop a model in marketing analytics that tells you what like good paths are, because your body is different than my body. For me, some other stuff will work. And then you can build a recommendation agent with the tools that George Knox teaches you in customer analytics, I believe. And, you know, you could recommend like, you know, een beetje persoonlijke ontwikkelingsplan, a personal like development plan. I'm just making these things up on the fly, but there are endless possibilities. All right, so we got sports, we got music, we got movies. What else? I want a fourth example, and then I'm ready to, you know, continue. Maybe something from the offline world, like, I don't know. Well, sports is kind of offline, but what are other passions that you have? Where you think like, you don't even have to spot the opportunity. We'll help you get an opportunity here, but like, yes.
Yeah, I cycle in summer. I cycle very much, and we have platform Strava.
Yeah.
Winter everything like how much you cycle, how hard you.
Yes.
It's very interesting. For example, at the end of the year, you get a overview, right? How much you.
Yes.
Etc. I think Strava is doing a lot with data, because first it was for free, so we collect a lot of data for a couple of years. Now you have to pay like €5 more. It's not much,
but what data do you get? You get like analytics for yourself, or you see what other people do, or what is it?
yeah, I think you can get for yourself. compare with each other. So, yeah, we have a lot of options.
Yeah, but what is that one missing piece of information for your development that's not there, but that could potentially be, you know, found in the data? Like, what is a big problem with cycling? I don't know. But what are like? Is it maybe motivation? People drop out. I don't know.
You can coach you in like training programs.
There is no personalized training program on the basis of data, or is there?
Not on Strava.
Okay, good. Does Strava offer expert functionality that you can kind of link Strava to other tools? So if you were to develop a new tool that pulls in Strava data,
Yeah.
there you go. So your development opportunity in this class is to get to know the Strava data inside out. Just because, like, when I started doing this music thing, I didn't know what kind of music data existed. And it was just like a fertile ground for me to learn about the industry, right? Because you read variable names and you're like, what does that mean? And then you learn more about the context, and then ideas will come, right? So cool. Thanks a bunch. All right, yes, thanks. I'll look at it. Sorry guys, the super thing. Oh yeah, that's true for the master thesis. All right, so Michael is saying like it's actually also a good strategy to collect data for master thesis, because then you don't have to, you know, go with the ideas of supervisors, but you can propose your own ideas. So that's cool too. And Rob is into recommendation agents. Was browsing an insurance company and searching glasses, and now I ended up with Raad van Commissaris. Or one of my interests is climbing, so climbing grades. Oh, that's cool, Rob. So I want to know more about your climbing thing. So what are platforms that you could potentially scrape to climb? I know, not to climb, but like, I don't know, to do something about climbing. That's I mean, it's really hard to do this hybrid thing all the time. So, but like, feed me with some information. So, yeah, motivation for this course, I went through that. I learned everything on my own because there was no book that I could read on how to do scraping and APIs. Actually, there were books, but they were only of technical nature. But I'm a researcher, and those technicians, they miss all of the things that matter for researchers, which is validity. Yes, of course, I can collect Amazon.com review data, fine, but is the data good enough to run a study on it? Or do fake reviews bias my estimates that I get from the data? The technicians, they don't care. They just are interested in average review stars or something, valence on you know, reporting that. But I care as a researcher. Another thing people in the industry don't care is maybe the technical feasibility of your collection, right? Me as a researcher, I need to obtain a minimum sample size to reliably study what I'm interested in, right? And I'm constrained, right? Because like, if I make certain choices that I want to get this data, my data collection will slow down, which will make it impossible to get my data size, you know, my sample size. So there are a bunch of considerations that you need to make to do these things right. And then another thing is scraping is particularly not valued in the job market, in the academic job market, because people perceive it just as another data set, like I said, right? But it's unique, and you need to learn how to do this. And scraping and APIs is really a large part of what defines me. So I've undertaken a bunch of scraping projects. So for instance, I investigated how music streaming changed music consumption using data I scraped from a website. And that was actually sneaky how I did it. So when you want to study how Spotify changed music consumption, ideally you observe consumers before they start using Spotify and after they start using Spotify. That's not possible with only data from Spotify, because Spotify only sees you when you log in and start using the streaming service. So I got data from an aggregating platform like this Tract TV that I was mentioning to you, where you can see people using iTunes for some time at that time, and then suddenly they start using other tools like Spotify or Deezer. Just come on in. Hi, welcome. So I started collecting this data via the API of that service. But on the website, you also had information on the platform that consumers were using. So in my API data that I got, I only see Hannes listen to Jamiroquai. But on the website, on the user profile websites, you saw actually Hannes right now is listening music on Spotify. So what I did is I took the data from the API, which was in a great shape, very well structured, and concurrently I scraped the user profile pages of 5,000 users that I randomly drew from all the users of that platform. And that allowed me to build a data set where I can really follow the path to adopting Spotify. And because that other data set gives me also data on music consumption, I could combine these data things. So that's how I did it. And there's a link to the paper. I monitor Spotify's user interface at this moment in time. So like when you open up Spotify, you get a bunch of recommended playlists, which are semi-personalized per territory. So Dutch people see different playlists than Germans, for example, right? Or in Germany, like physically. So I monitor this. And this is one of the key components and the study that I talk about today with a journalist, where I study platform power. Because one way in which Spotify exerts power over you is that they have the freedom to put playlists on top and to shift your attention to the things that they think are important, not that you think are important. Yes. Oh, they're completely, it's a completely gray zone, yes. So there's nothing that can save you from legal troubles. What you need to do is you need to minimize this risk. There are active legal battles in the United States as we speak. And it's a bit like, somebody tries to scrape and then somebody tries to shut them down and they go to court and the scrapers win. And you know what? It's unresolved. So we need to minimize risks. As researchers, usually we're pretty safe. But if you make this a viable business model, get your prototype data, develop a proof of concept, and then try to collaborate with the owners of the data, right? But my personal opinion is we shouldn't be constrained. It's public data. If you don't do weird stuff, you don't do hacking, you collect data that's publicly available on the website, that should be fine. But I'll touch upon many legal issues in this course. And I almost got sued, by the way. So yeah, there's so much, and I don't know. I'll touch upon many of these things. So you can just look at this on your own time. And I share a bunch of code of how to do scraping on GitHub, blah, 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 blah. The legal battle. Yeah. So with the Spotify paper, so what happened was I started scraping this data, and I was like going through the terms of use on the website, and it said like, you can't combine the data that you retrieve via our API with any other data set. And then on the website, it said like, you can't scrape. You're not allowed to scrape. But I continued scraping. And I sent these guys an email. I said, look, I'm Hannes, I'm from Tilburg, and I do this research. Can I do it, please? Let me know. No answer. A year later, sent them an email again. We're writing up that manuscript. It's getting ready. Anything to say here? Nothing. So this whole manuscript goes through the review process in marketing science, one of our top journals in our field. And I was like, okay, better send them an email again. It's moving ahead. Probably it's going to be published eventually. Are you okay? No reaction, no reaction. The study gets accepted in marketing science. I send them an email saying, look, guys, it's published. Hope you like it. And then I get an email from their lawyer saying, I need to delete the data. I have breached UK privacy law, blah, blah, blah. All of these things, and the worst thing was that this made my tenure case at Tilburg. So if I hadn't gotten a publication, and I got the publication after all, I would have had to leave Tilburg and I ended my academic career. So there were high stakes. So we tried to negotiate. Well, initially, I wanted to negotiate, giving them like 10,000 euros for my research budget, something like that. But I talked to some people here at Tilburg. We have a fascinating law and technology department. And I talked to these guys and they said, you didn't do nothing wrong. And I said, why? But, I misread these terms. Well, I ignored these terms. And they said, yeah, but academic research or research for the societal well-being should always be more important than, the interests of companies, right? What I found there are like things that are pretty important for the development of the music industry. That supersedes maybe the privacy rights of 5,000 users, by the way, that were anonymized and whose data was never leaked, right? So they gave me the self-confidence to fight back. So we sent an email. They helped me formulate it, saying like, look, guys, this is what I did. And I think you are violating freedom of science. So better shut up. And they did. And then I published and it made my career. So, but that's for academics. And it is very different for entrepreneurs, but it's something that I recommend everybody to invest, because it gives you context and ideas that otherwise you will not have access to. And by the way, Google is a scraping firm too, because what do they do to build their search index? They write web crawlers that walk through the web to index what is there. It's just the same thing, right? So yeah, I hope that doesn't move you away from scraping. So what is scraping? And now I'm going to be on a break in a real bit. So what really is scraping? So with scraping, you can actually capture anything that you view in your web browser, right? So you go to a site like, I don't know, Twitch, and what you'll see here is, well, yeah, basically anything that you can get, you can scrape. And most of the people in marketing, they focus on textual data, like, I don't know, names and the number of, I don't know, views. But you can also capture audio data, right? This guy's talking, and you could just like hook up to that stream and start saving that data. You could capture that video data, and I don't know what you want to do with it. You have to tell me, right? But it's all possible. So anything that you can see in a browser, you can get. This is a visual website, right? Anybody knows or uses Reddit? So pretty popular in the US. It's like, are you using Reddit? You were like, you're using Reddit, right? Yeah, it's popular among international crowds, I guess, right? So what do you use it for? For crypto, amazing. So what is a thread that I need to, like a subreddit that I need to follow? Yeah, but what is the crypto thread thing? Crypto? Is it Wall Street bets or something? Wall Street bets. Let's do this. Okay, Wall Street bets. There you go. Good. This is also a visual website designed for humans to take a look at, right? You got like videos and stuff. So we love this, right? But what if we could make computers understand this content? That's where APIs come into play. Web scraping is for scraping stuff made for humans from websites. But when you're a little, nerdy like I am, and you extend the URL by putting some extra stuff here, and that's unique to Reddit, by the way, it doesn't work on other sites, you have other stuff. The whole site gets converted to something computers can read, okay? And that looks odd, so let me go to a different browser, because maybe I have Firefox, I don't have Firefox. Let me see, I'm just downloading Firefox, because I think it helps me display what I wanted to display. Let me just do this. Oh no, right. Hopefully this is gonna work out, but maybe, yeah, this is really slow. All right, so I can't show you right now, but just trust me that this data is like, it looks unstructured, but it is really structured. Like a computer can just like crunch it and understand everything. And you can like, maybe I can move it to a different side. Let me see whether this works. JSON viewer. Yeah, there you go. So right now we structured it. So the data that we get from an API is machine readable, right? It looks like gibberish, right? But actually it's structured. It's a hierarchy. It's a tree. So you can click on it and you can get all the information on that Reddit website. So, and it looks like, I don't know, you don't understand it. So let's just like explore. Let's go to the children, and let's go to the first children. Well, it has some data type, and there's data in here. Subreddit Wall Street bets. Your daily trading discussion thread. So let's go back to what we've seen here when we looked at the website. Let me zoom back in. Actually, yeah, what is in this JSON viewer should be the data that we see. You see, like, is the post hidden? No, it's not. Quarantine, I don't know what that means. It's a public subreddit. There is media, and there's no media embedded. There are no user reports. So apparently this website gives you data on whether user flagged content to be inappropriate or something like this. Let me go to the next one. It has, yeah, I don't know. You actually see waters, like which people liked it. I don't know. You see, let me go to a different post because I don't think that's so interesting. But you actually get access to authorized company data. See, here you see the text and who has written it. You see, let me see, any media embedded? No, but yeah, essentially you can go through the internal company database, and it's not internal because they chose to make it public on the internet, but it's a way and a more authorized way to obtain data from the web. So let me see. We had, like, you're interested in crypto, right? So you can mine data from the Wall Street Bets API and run a regression model to see how the sentiment on Wall Street Bets influences stock returns for your portfolio and for, let's say, the AEX in Amsterdam, right? And maybe you discover a trading rule, right? You discover that your estimation of what happens on Wall Street Bets is a better prediction of the market, and you can actually start trading. I mean, the possibilities are endless. And people do that also already, right? So the idea is not so unique, but yeah. Thanks. I'll look. Rob, or data is beautiful. Oh, Rob, okay. Just a sec. Rob is suggesting something, so let me take a look at this. Reddit.com/r/data is beautiful. It's always true. There you go. Yeah, that's also interesting. I don't know. Maybe you want to monitor this and, I don't know, mine all these graphics to understand what kind of visualizations are most popular. Maybe even you can come up with a recommendation algorithms where people upload their own graph and it suggests easy ways to make it look nicer, you know, based on similarity scores. I don't know. There's, you know, lots of stuff. Exactly. Amazon doesn't have an API. So Max is asking the question, right? So if I'm at Amazon, can I also just, like, I don't know, go to a computer category, click here, click to this phone and add JSON to it? Nope. They don't have an API, right? So it's the company's choice to give something in return. And even those firms that have APIs, Reddit is the only one that I know how easy, you know, you can get data by just appending something to the URL, right? Other things are really, really more complicated. You can't really run them in your browser. So, but you're going to learn it. So don't be scared. Let me go back to my deck. I may actually have lost my slide deck. Let me see, go back, modules, slides, and we're going to go on a break real quick. Let me see, zip, where am I? Yeah, and like, how easy is it to write such a scraper? It's easy to start, but then it quickly gets complicated. Like my friend with whom I wrote a paper on this said, like, the devil is in the details, and it really is, right? So you'll fire up Python, you're importing a package called requests. First thing, to people who have never programmed before, program is just like a child way of speaking English. Import, and then maybe a little more complicated, right? But just read it out. It's English. You can understand English, so you can understand programming, right? Import requests, web requests. It's a library that allows you to make web requests. And then we can call a particular URL. URL is like a link, right? So for example, we can try to scrape this page. It's one of the pages that you'll learn to scraping. It's a fictitious bookstore where we want to learn how to capture prices and titles of books and stuff like that. It's like a dummy example. And then we're getting data from that URL. And then you can look at the content of the website. And I put in brackets characters because I don't want to look at the whole source code. I just want to look at a few characters. And when you look at this particular point in the source code of a website, you see actually product description, and you see it's hard to imagine a world without a light in the attic. Well, this is this, right? So you've captured some text. It's not how you should do scraping because the website changes and then it's not at that position anymore. So we need better tools to kind of capture what we want to capture. But that's essentially it. It was, I don't know, 3 lines of code. But again, devil is in the details. And at the end of this course, your scraper is going to have 200 lines minimum, right? But that's how we get started. So we can use a library called Beautiful Soup. What could that mean? Well, what we see here looks like a soup, right? It's like, I don't know, lots of source code. Beautiful soup means let's make that more beautiful. Let's make it easier to understand. And what we can do is we can use the soup package to find tags. And like the title on this page is always tagged with a header, H1, a light in the attic. So this is a way to more safely capture this information. What you should do, you should open your favorite website, go in your browser, right click, select inspect, and then you get to the back end of your browser. You can click on select an element, and you could start selecting elements to see it's a light in the attic. And it gives you an understanding about how websites work. You could even change the text. And, you know, pull jokes on your friends by altering the content on social media and the number of likes and taking a screenshot of your phone and sending it to your friends. That's also possible. But it gives you an intuition about how this works, right? You have like source code with certain tags or classes that you can change, right? Such as changing the price. Let's put it on discount. Obviously, it doesn't change anything actually when you go on that website, but it allows you to understand how the source code of a website maps into what you see. Because after all, it's a computer. It's a dumb computer, and it needs to, there's code to display what you want to do. So it's quite easy. It works with any website, anything you see in a browser. And APIs, they're more structured in the sense that well, actually, it's kind of the same thing. You do like request.get, and you put in your URL of where you want to get stuff, such as like the Reddit thread from the skating community, and you're retrieving some data. And then you get a couple of like code snippets to kind of walk through that tree. So see, it's like saying the JSON request dot get data. So if we look at this again, this tree, this JSON tree, the first item here is data, right? So we kind of walk that tree, get children. Okay, so from data, we go to children, right? Next one. Take the 0 item, the first item. Computers start counting with 0, don't ask me why. This is the first item. Then get the data. Boom, data. And then get the self text, which is, boom, this, whatever was on there. But here in my JSON, you see the Wall Street bets and not the example of the skating community, right? It's that simple. There are many opportunities, and I will talk about these opportunities after the break. All right, so we're gonna have a 10-minute break, and then we'll reconvene. So thanks a bunch already, and talk to me if you have questions. Let's continue with the class. So we're going to talk a little bit about more opportunities from scraping in APIs, and then I will go through the course setup, given the time. Actually, you always take longer than, I realize, you tell much more than you planned, because I wanted to finish within an hour, but obviously I don't. So, but that's fine because you have time anyways this morning. So we've talked about knowledge discovery of new phenomena, right? So when I started investigating streaming, nobody was interested in streaming, and it became a research stream in marketing. That's one way in which you can break ground and discover new stuff, because what we actually want to do is we want to we're curious human beings, and we want to learn stuff. We want to discover new stuff, right? Another really cool thing that you can do with web data is that you can make your results more meaningful, because managers use web data already, right? So like in the music industry, everybody is concerned about, playlisting. How many streams do you get? These are like metrics that matter, right? And they're right there at your fingertips. What's your name, by the way? Sorry? Bauke. So I talked to Bauke in the break, and Bauke's into fitness, and there's this My Fitness app. Yeah, My Fitness Pal thing. And when you type company name plus API in Google, you get directed to the API. And it opens the world of their data for you. It's at your fingertips. And you can do that with whatever you're interested in. If you're interested in classical ballet, type classical ballet API. Chances there's some big, theater that shares data about performances via that API. I don't know. It's the lynching pin of the internet economy, APIs. Remember the days when we all started to massively use, I don't know, we hang around on Facebook and you get like spammed with like invitations to games, right? Candy Crush and these kind of things that at least when I started using Facebook long back, that was kind of the thing, right? How did this thing become big? Why? Well, Candy Crush used the Facebook API to pull in your friends list and then spam your friends because, to kind of grow. So that was beneficial to Candy Crush, but in turn, because Candy Crush was so addictive, people spent more time on Facebook so they could see more ads, so Facebook could make more money. So the API was the reason this ecosystem blew up, exploded, and is what we know now today as Meta, right? Another observation, Spotify, when they started coming into the market, they were nobody, right? And people believed they would like go bankrupt in a year, but they had an API. And that API allowed other manufacturers to integrate playback functionality in their devices. Bose was one of the first ones that used that, the Spotify web API, so that you can play music on Bose speakers via Spotify without actually having to use Bluetooth, right? Now it's the standard technology. And when you take your smartphone and your smart TV and you stream, it is actually through the web API that all of this is happening. It's not Bluetooth most of the time. So, and Spotify gave away some data. Yes, they did, about their platform a little bit, but they needed it because they wanted to grow and they used Bose to grow. And it's just a fascinating opportunity. And that's why lots of data sources are still open for us to use. What you can do too is you can improve methods. We in marketing, we used to calculate with numeric variables in our analysis, right? Kind of natural to analysis, right? But now consumers started to post reviews and we were like, don't know how to analyze it. So people were curious and started developing text analysis methods. Now we have a very strong toolkit to do natural language processing, especially in English text, and it's growing in other languages too. Well, what about these 20-second videos on TikTok? Do we have a technology that allows us to understand what's in these videos? Yes, we have. It's called Google Cloud Vision. There are also other APIs that you can use where you can just send the videos, and I'm not talking about one video, I'm talking about a million of videos that you can send, and they do recognition about facial expressions, about whether there are brands listed on they can see anything, and it's at your fingertips, and you pay a cent to get it analyzed, or euros, a euro per 1,000 images that you want it to be analyzed. Take audio data. I don't know whether you've ever been on Clubhouse. I didn't have an iPhone at the time when it was hip, and I don't think it's hip anymore, so I don't bother. But audio data, right? Suddenly people were having conversations. Well, there is an audio to text API, so we can decipher audio data. And I don't know, where's audio data? You must see audio data somewhere, because I don't see it, but maybe you do. So you convert audio data to text, and then you use our text analysis methods, which we have already developed, and you can analyze conversations between consumers. The opportunities are endless for improving methods. And then also you can improve inferences. That's a technical term. What does it mean? You can get better results. That's what it means, right? So for example, in the study that I run, supermarket data, I got iPhone sales in 14 countries, and also Samsung sales and whatever. And these markets are highly seasonal. And actually, this is our Southeast Asian markets. And although I've lived in India for quite some time and I've traveled a lot, I don't know the localities of these markets very well to capture seasonality, right? In India, you've got Diwali, which is where lots of people buy, gifts. In China, you may have Chinese New Year. There may be other things, but I just don't know what is the holiday in Vietnam where everybody goes out on the streets, right? And to buy stuff, but I need to control for it. There is a holiday API. And the holiday API just gives you a list of public holidays per country, for all the countries that were in the study. All around the world. And I just used it to code, when a national holiday occurs. So now I'm just controlling for national holidays in my model, which captures the idiosyncratic nature of Vietnam versus Malaysia versus Singapore, countries that I don't know much about, right? But I can still control for it. So it's improving my model without me having to actually go into the details. So we've talked about this a bunch. So like about what platforms you like, and I just want to keep up that conversation. I just believe you should be the ones in charge deciding on what marketeers should study, because the concepts that I'm even working on are outdated already, right? Streaming is big already. And yes, I can study these markets further because it's my passion, right? But I want to enable you to find your passion of being able to generate valuable insights. And I want to help you and coach you. Why do we care as marketeers? This is the journal output starting from 2004. I started first scraping in 2007. Nobody was doing that at the time, right? And now we have almost 20% of all of our publications are based on web scrape data across all of the major journals. Why do we care? These are the thought leaders. It's not like I want you to force you to read these papers or anything. It's not that. But these are thought leaders in marketing that publish in these journals. So it's big, right? It's growing in importance. Another really fun fact is that the studies using web data are way more impactful. I did this analysis, nobody knows this, and everybody thinks I'm wrong about it, by the way. But this is my point to prove that I have a point, right? In the first years after publication, there's not a real difference. But look what happens like 8 years down the road, or even 15 years down the road. It is us who are the knowledge pioneers that go out and take data and generate some meaningful insights. It's opening up new areas of inquiry, not because I'm a professor that is interested in broadening citations, because this is citations. No, it's about generating knowledge about our world. And we are in the right to know. Like, I took web data to study platform power. And today I'm on the radio to talk about it because it matters to people. So like, go out and study what you're passionate about. Don't study what I study, please. Don't do it. Just study what you believe in. That's like where the goal is, okay? But you know, what's so different about web data? I always get this, like, yeah, but it's like any other data set. No, it's not, right? Like in data source selection, there are millions of websites that you scrape from. I don't know how many fitness platforms there are that have an API. Probably like dozens, right? So it's difficult to choose, and how to choose between these different websites. I want to show you how to do that, because there are things that you can do, right? The easiest thing is like, if you want to do fitness, you just do like fitness, MyFitnessPal, and you see they have an API and you stop searching. Actually, that's the biggest threat. You don't actually know whether maybe a Belgian app will be much, I don't know whether it's local, by the way. I don't know. Is it a Dutch app? No, it's an international app.
I think it's international.
Yeah, but okay, let's just assume it was a Dutch app, right? Like sometimes you have these things local, right? Well, maybe you just want to go to a neighboring country. Maybe you just want to switch continent because there's an app also with an API which gives you more data, or an app which has a better feature that you want to study, right? It's like the biggest threat here is defaulting to what we know. Actually, 51% of all publications in marketing use one of the top 5 platforms. It's Amazon, it's Twitter, it's Google Trends, it's maybe Kickstarter. That's it. Yeah, we know a bunch of these things, but we don't know anything about MyFitnessPal, right? We don't know anything about other platforms that we've talked about. The cycling platform. Nobody has studied cycling platforms yet. So it's good to dig deep here. All right. And then another thing is the extraction design completely differs, right? So when you take other data sets, you need to learn SQL, because SQL is kind of the database language to extract data from a company. This toolkit that you're learning in this class is entirely different. You have to decide which information to extract, which kind of variables to extract. You need to tackle looming legal and ethical battles. It is very, very different. And then also the data collection process is very different. People perceive web data many times as downloading data from the internet. It's not. You have to write a robot on your computer that does this for you. It's highly automated. So, it just fails all the time because, your program is not good enough. Like, I don't know, IT restarts my computer all the time and I lose data. So I learned to use cloud computing, because then I can just make myself super user and like switch off updates, and then it never restarts, right? But it's like this mindset that you need, like to see new problems, because they will come, and I cannot solve your particular problems, but I can give you a mindset on how you can solve this. Each project really, really, really is totally unique. And that's why me and my colleagues, we have developed a method framework to guide the collection of web data. And what is this? Let me go and zoom in a little bit. Doesn't zoom in much more. This is fresh from the press. You know when this was finalized? It was finalized yesterday at 11:30 p.m. when we submitted this back for publication at Journal of Marketing. So we had second round, and they've given us some leeway on explaining to the field on how to do this. This is cutting edge in a way because nobody believes in it. But the editors see potential in this. So let's hope this will eventually get published. And in the first round, the paper, which is still on the site because I still have to upload the new paper, we claim there's one universal way in which you need to scrape. And the reviews that we got, the experts that evaluated our works, they said you're bullshitting. There's not one way. Every project is unique. And we didn't realize that when we first wrote this paper. So this is a completely rewritten paper where we rather want to give a conceptual framework on how to think about it. All right, so here it is. You have data collection decisions, right? Stage one, you select the source. Like, do I use MyFitnessPal or do I use some niche app that only 1,000 users use, which gives me amazing data that is much better than what I could get at MyFitnessPal, right? Data source selection. Then extraction design. Which information you want to extract? How do you start your data collection? You can't download a website. You need to decide for which products or which users or whatever, right? For which to do this robot. The third thing is, at what frequency do you want to capture that information? You just want to do one-on-ones, or do you want it multiple times? How do you schedule it? Do you do it once a day? Do you do it at a particular time of the day, a particular day of the week? Think about it. It's important because the data that you get out of this will be completely different depending on these choices. And then finally, how to process the data. If you scrape data from user profiles, even if it is names like Funny Bunny 123, it is potentially illegal to do this because you're violating consumer privacy rights. Because if you keep on following Funny Bunny 123 for a long period of time, chances you encountering other information that would theoretically enable you to triangulate and actually identify it's you. I don't know, right? So one way to do this is hashing usernames during the collection, like making them gibberish. So you will never be able to triangulate information. Kick out sensitive information, right? Like if you're running a study about music consumption, why do you need to collect gender? It doesn't matter, right? Or it matters maybe for the problem that you do, right? But you need to make choices on discarding some of those sensitive informations first, because it makes your study more secure and more ethical, maybe, right? Because we can do a whole lot of shit with this too, right? Like, you remember Cambridge Analytica? I mean, everything that you learn in this class enables you to do exactly the same thing. It's nowhere different. People thought this was a hack. It wasn't a hack. They just used the official API. Because at the time, Facebook was still in the mind of, we want to grow. So we want to give data away to grow our ecosystem. It was not a leak. It was legit. But people used it for something unethical, right? And we are running the risk of doing these same things. So always be sharp and prompt ourselves. That's why all of these design decisions really matter for legal and ethical risks that we encounter, right? Legality, consumer protection, like GDPR, privacy. Other things are you're scraping databases of companies and they may have invested millions of euros to build this database. Maybe we should have a legal or ethical discussion on whether you're stealing the data, right? Or not. There's copyright, right? They invest a lot of time and effort and it's protected. It's their intellectual property. Are you violating their property? Well, if you're aggregating the data only to get some statistics, you're not. If you're reproducing the work, yes, you are, right? So I can generate statistics about the song of, I forget the name again, the band. Sorry? Yeah, and that's the problem, maybe. The name is so difficult. Anyways, but you have a band, right? And I cannot copy your songs, obviously, but I can generate statistics about your songs and then I'm fine, right? So it has huge implications on the legal side. It also has huge implications on the technical feasibility side. One example that I want to give, right? Think back about this Spotify study. I mentioned that before. I scraped the user profile pages of 5,000 users. And then the first thing that people said is why only 5,000 users? The service has 1 million of users. So why don't you do everything? Well, here it is. if I want to see the profile page of one user in my data set, at least every 15 minutes, okay? Because I want to capture in real time what software kit they're using, right? And I'm only allowed to make 1 or 2 requests per second to this website, because otherwise I'm shutting down their servers, because it seems like a DDoS attack or something like that, right? I mean, it's sometimes close to the batch stuff, right? So you need to be gentle, you know, with scraping, maybe 1 request per second, and then wait, like, be gentle, don't kill the servers. You don't get friends by doing that, right? So that puts a maximum limit to the number of users that you can monitor, right? Every 50 minutes, 1 user, and then 1 request per second. We call this calculation of the technically feasible sample size. It's all in the paper. You're going to learn this, right? But the choices that you make inside this pyramid affect everything around it. And then finally, the validity, right? So if I say, like, yeah, I want a large sample, I want to capture like 50,000 users, but that has implications for the extraction frequency. So you see users maybe only every 2 hours, every 3 hours, then I cannot claim I have captured in real time what they listened to, because I really didn't, right? So this whole thing is always like in balance, and you need to balance this out as you generate your data set. And it's difficult. So the learning goals of this course are, first of all, get an understanding about the literature. Like, it's rich, and I didn't know that a year ago, to be honest. So I'm working with a friend of mine. Actually, I was his best man at the wedding of his wedding, and we go back a long time. We started studying in our bachelor's first year in Germany, in Ingolstadt, which is near Munich. So we know each other for a long time. And already back then, he was my housemate even. So this guy is amazing. So he knows about everything that happens in this literature, all right? And it's fascinating because you can get inspired by what is happening in that literature, because you can learn from others. All right. The next one, you will learn how to identify web data sources, right? I said that, MyFitnessPal, is this a good data source, or should we do something else? You're going to learn how to assess whether it actually fits your research question, and making smart design decisions, which is like the decisions that you make inside that triangle. And then finally, you're going to embark on a web data collection project. So, you know, look around you and try to find like-minded people that would like to work on a project with you. Either by using web scraping, many people do that, or by using APIs. And you're not going to write these code from scratch. You're just going to copy paste and learn the way I learned coding. And we've got a bunch of resources on the website. And then finally, you're going to document that data set, and it's going to be published on the internet, because maybe other people use it alongside with code and your annotations. And then, you know, maybe you've just founded your first research stream, you know, and you're the one, you know, that gets popular because of putting out that data. And another learning goal of this class is to track and evaluate your progress on the course's learning goals. I will comment upon this a little more elaborate in DPrep, but given that this paper wasn't finished and I worked day and night to get it finished, the tracking app isn't ready yet, and I still need to launch it. So let's see how that goes. How is this program positioned, this course positioned in the curriculum? It's actually at the very, very, very start of your research process, right? So when you collect data, right? And then you get data preparation, where DPrep falls in. You got a bunch of analysis courses in this program, and nothing on evaluation and deployment. And I'm filling the void of data collection here. It's actually the second course only that does this, next to experimental research, which is very different, right? Because you put people in a lab and they need to answer surveys. This is really different. This course is structured in weekly modules along our methodological framework. There is a whole lot of time in which you need to self-study and do tutorials. And for the rest of this course, we're going to meet on a live stream with a bunch of, you know, fun activities and discussions and these kind of things. There's going to be a project at the end of the course where you need to collect data. We got a bunch of tutorials that we developed specifically for you. One is on installing your computer and getting software ready. This is due this week in a way. We got to do that tutorial, right? Where is that tutorial? Well, it's on the course website. If you have a friend who wants to study this too, just like let him or her tag along, because all the material is publicly available. So this is what you need to do, the software installation. And then the Python bootcamp for this week. If you haven't obtained access to premium content at DataCamp, do that please today, because the library takes maybe a day or so to grant you access, because you're going to follow a DataCamp tutorial on Python. I think the site is pretty good. It's been used for the 3rd time right now, and I continuously improve it. If you don't find the stuff, try search. If you still don't find it, you can get in touch with me, and I'm happy to help you. There's also a really cool thing on the site that is in which you can run these tutorials directly in your browser. So you can download the tutorial, which is a little cumbersome, but you can also just like view the tutorial in Google Colab and then immediately start your coding. I do recommend you warmly to install Python on your own computers, the way I instructed though, because ultimately you're not going to collect all of your data using a cloud computer. You're going to collect it from your local laptop. And then this other thing is, I want you to be able to use state-of-the-art coding tech when you actually start your first job. And there, maybe they don't want you to work in the cloud because the data is sensitive. So you need to be able to install whatever you need on the computer, right? So that's why I love the cloud, but then I don't love the cloud, right? So we're going to do both. In your team project, you're scraping data or you use APIs, you work through the entire method framework, and I will coach you. There are some outdated project ideas. Outdated, well, I get a bunch of stuff here, but hey, you guys know best what is interesting to you. So study something that you like or not like or whatever, that you're interested in. Okay. You're going to be graded in this course. All this stuff about it is on the course website. By the way, you don't need any VPN connection to do anything in this course. And Rob, thanks for the link on the API. Good. We use a self-and-peer assessment tool. So if you're a free rider and you try to, ride on the shoulders of some academic friends, you're going to be punished for it in terms of your grade. So, I don't know. Be aware of this. Please make this project matter. So talk about it to others that are not enrolled in this program. Make this your thing you're proud of. The course website is online. It's your #1 resource. I don't use Canvas other than for maybe submitting assignments or something like this, or posting announcements. I know it's like weird that I don't use Canvas, but I just find it so more beneficial if this whole content is just openly available on the internet. You can't imagine how many emails I get because of what I do in my research. But hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? And now it's just like all there and people can use it. So it's beneficial. Even alumni of marketing analytics who graduated like 5 years ago, it was, I think, still called marketing research. They follow my classes and they send in stuff for email, feedback and stuff. So I think it's useful to put it out there. Everybody is on Canvas who was here? Good. In my live streams, it would be ideal if you use the chat. Don't use it like a formal conversation. When I watch Twitch, it's so much fun watching the chat. It's like almost your buddy, right? That's how I like to see my chat. You need to be active. Ideally, you turn on your camera, unless you can, because you don't want it or something. But like, it's cool to see your face. It's like I don't know. The ideas that are kind of coming up here are already so much more just by looking at faces, seeing facial expressions. So let's see how that goes. Help me as a moderator, not only you, but anybody can help me. Hey, you forgot something. Just turn on your mic in the live streams and just tell me what it is. We'll use a bunch of tools in the class. One of those is TeamViewer, so you will have problems, the technical problems. So with TeamViewer, you can give me access to your computer and I'll solve it in the live streams. Use 2 screens if you have them. It's so much better for coding. Tell me when your computers are too slow, because 50% of your computers will be too slow. And then I can maybe give you some advice on how to speed things up or scale things down. Your computer is going to break down, man. It's something maybe to look out for eventually. But there are cloud solutions that can get you started, right? But tell me when you have performance issues, because the worst thing is waiting or thinking that this is normal. So anytime you have a feeling like, that doesn't feel like normal, talk to me. I have experience in this, so I can help you. I will probably post the recordings on Canvas, but it's a big bottleneck, so let me find out. Just make sure you're present if you can, especially in live streams, it shouldn't be a problem. And there are already recorded sessions from last year's. Grading, 45% team project, 50% computer exam. You actually at home when you take this exam, it's a randomized questions kind of type of exam with a bunch of open questions. It's fun actually. Details are on the website, and you got to track your learning process, and not this week just because my tool is not up and running, but I'll work hard to get it up. And if not, there's just going to be a Google form substitute for it, which will do the job equally well. But I'll show you more about this in deep prep because I'm running out of time a little bit. So my commitment here is get you up to speed on scraping and APIs and help you choose which one is best for you. Learn a bit of Python, but like if you really think you're going to be an expert after this class, no, that's not going to work out. It takes years of practice. And I actually think only through teaching this class, I've actually started to, more formalize my Python skills. And I've been using Python for like 10 years or something like this. It's just a long process. Don't think yeah, it will come. Yes.
Are we gonna need the Anaconda or Jupyter notebooks?
Yes. We have the tutorials are developed in Jupyter notebooks, and you can use Colab or your local distribution. And I prefer Anaconda, which for those that don't know what it is, there's something around like about snakes with Python, right? But Python is the program language, and there's like a package around it called Anaconda, which makes it super easy to install. When I tell you install Python, you're going to have different versions. When I tell you to install Python through Anaconda, you're all going to have the same version, no matter whether you're on a Mac, Linux, or Windows computer. So yes, it's all in the installation instructions on my pages too. Good, thanks. Good question. Is there a WhatsApp group? That's from my chat. So there are two things actually about the support. There's going to be a WhatsApp support from me. I use WhatsApp for Business. I'll give you my QR code in a bit so you can scan it. I encourage you to create a WhatsApp group for this course right now, but you need to take initiative. So I would just say somebody does this right now and share this link, and we can also share it with the chat. There's a Discord. Oh, amazing. Okay, yeah, I can't join this, but I want to know more about Discord because I see more and more people using it. All right, so put the link in the chat, and I'll make sure to post it to the live people here. All right? So Rob, please post it there. Amazing. Okay, cool. And maybe you need to make a choice on whether I can actually learn Discord and whether I can join to see what's going on. If you don't want me to join, let me know. That's fine too. Maybe you can discuss this first before inviting. Okay, good. But I promise not to join unless you tell me to join. Okay. So you need to interact with me. Otherwise, this course will do nothing for you, right? So it's only through the interaction that we can actually do cool stuff. I use only open software. I hate closed software because the moment that you start working at a firm, you need to be able to actually use the stuff that you learn, right? So no closed software at all. Bring in your own ideas. Don't be afraid to study topics of the mainstream. So something that we write in the paper, for example, is a section on the legalized weed industry in the United States, right? It's a big taboo to talk about these kind of things, right? But it's a fascinating opportunity to study how, let's say, illegal thing once like transitions more into legal space. Like, what is the role of medical pharmacies or medical dispensaries, they call it, versus recreational dispensaries, right? It's something of interest because we see these developments popping up, right? In Germany, in Canada, in many countries, right? So yeah, it may be a stigmatized topic, but hell, if you think that's interesting, who am I to tell you you shouldn't do it, right? There is a bunch of research opportunities in anything that you're interested in. And I do value diversity. So, you need to be yourself. And maybe you also need to develop yourself. So just follow where you have a gut feeling and talk about it, be open. I hope that we can have such a climate. That would be really, really cool. I have to warn you, eventually you're going to be brain dead in this course within the first week or two, because coding can be so frustrating. It's like I have young kids, right? So when I look at them, let's say doing a puzzle, let's say, right? My 3-year-old doing a puzzle, and I give her like a 50 puzzle piece, and that works very well, right? If I give her like 100 puzzle piece, like it just doesn't work, right? And she gets very frustrated, and then I sit with her and I do the first things on that puzzle, and then she says, "Oh, actually, it's achievable. I can do the 100-piece puzzle," right? But it's the same thing with coding, right? You see so many things and you don't have a clue what this is all about, so it can be frustrating. And one reaction could be like, I can't do this, and you don't start crying like my daughter does. But That's kind of natural reaction, right? So we need to talk about these things, right? Let me know when you're frustrated and I'll give you a pointer on how to get started again. It's normal. It's like, that's what human beings do. We teach ourselves new stuff all the time, like from the time we're born. So this is the same thing. Don't be too frustrated about it. It's part of the experience. Take breaks, go for a walk, stop coding, go for a run. I don't know. And then start again. And you're just going to observe that your mind is open again and you can continue. You know, we got cheat sheets. You will learn from your mistakes. With my WhatsApp support group, there's going to be lots of feedback, quick feedback loops. When to get in touch with me? Try to find the information on the course website. The course website has been developed over years. It's good, I think. So find it there first. Ask Google or Stack Overflow if you have technicalities. Google will not tell you anything about the validity issues because we're the first ones to actually think about these things. But like, if you can't get your scraper code or Python package installed, Google has the answer much faster than I. And chances I'll just send you that very same link that you would have found way quicker. Ask friends and classmates, get in touch, join the WhatsApp group, exchange QR codes. We haven't had this in 2 years, but actually you can make friends. Like, yeah, the friends that I made in my masters, they are the ones that still, you know, stick with me and like next to friends from when I was young are the ones that I know with whom I do the things that I do, right? So do that again. If it can wait, the question that you have, defer to the live stream because other people may find it extremely interesting to hear your problem and learn from your failures. Okay, if it can't wait, be in touch with me by scanning this QR code, and it's it's also on the slide deck on the web, obviously, and you can send me messages. It's my work phone, so I have like opening hours and I usually don't reply after 5 and I'm off on Wednesdays because I'm home with my kids, but that's the thing. So I want to be your coach. And the best experiences that I had with students is like by having WhatsApp conversations about things. I will call you if you have a problem because I hate writing because writing takes me like half an hour. Well, I could have just like talked to you for like a minute. I may send you a request to share your screen and take over control of your computers to solve the technical issue that you have because it's much faster. Let's use technology the way it's supposed to be used. Okay, it's not like instruct invisible walls of like, I don't know. What's in for you? This can be the start of your business. Actually, a student last year, she's now making money with the tech that she learned. She's scraping coffee prices across the world, and then she's selling the data. There's money in this. Okay, you can be the linking thing between analytics and data science. Invest in your research skills. Maybe you think like, this is interesting research. I never thought about it like this. Well, maybe you want to become an academic, right? So, and the final thing is you can showcase expertise in coding. The moment that you put Python on your CV and actually know what you're talking about, you have just increased your value on the job market. So, before we stop, what would make this course a success for you? Any observations? Like, what will you consider amazing if you have learned it by the end of this class? What are your ambitions? What are your goals, your dreams, your big dreams, your long-term goals, 5 years into now? At a company?
No, in here, like study coding that in order to get better, I need projects.
Yes.
And joining this class, I think.
Yeah, what you can do too is you have friends already working in a company, ask them what data they need and you'll just get it for them. Maybe that's also creating opportunities because I wrongly understood you said something about companies, but that's also a chance, right? You don't have to do weird scraping on your hobby, but but yeah, good. That's a good one. Other observations. What would make this success good? And I think I can deliver on this. What would be other things that you would appreciate? There's my chat. New ways to look at the same old stuff. Actually, we write about this in this paper too. Yeah. So how can we infuse some novel stuff? All right. So, like, give me an example, Michael. What is old stuff, in your opinion, Michael? So old stuff in my case is like looking at sales promotions. I hate it. It's like an old topic. It's been studied since the 70s, right? But I don't know, sales promotions with like influencers on Instagram where I don't know, all these images pop up and I know you have like counts and then you clap and I don't know what's like these live streams. I don't watch, I'm not active actually on Instagram, but like that's new stuff, right? And it's also promotion. So why not study it, right? So maybe that's, Michael, something for you. Good. Getting started, install the software, do the Python bootcamp, learn about the difference about APIs and web scraping. I posted a video and work hard, work hard. And be in touch on WhatsApp if you have questions, okay? Any questions so far? I'm completely drained, so we'll have the next class, not at 10:45, because I'm not gonna do this. We're gonna have the class at 11 in this other room, if that's okay, right? We can even make it shorter. You need a longer break? We can also do 11:15. You know, I can skip the whole introduction because you're all in my other class too, right? Good. Why don't we just do 11:15 then, okay? I still need to do some printouts, actually. I was so late. Okay, does it make sense? And then we just skip the break and we can skip the introduction, all that kind of stuff, okay? Cool, any questions about the, yes? You like it? Yeah, it's yeah, cool. Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, but that's exactly the kind of interaction that I know because I just don't know. Like, you know, actually, I woke up at 6 today because I was like, I even forgot how this works, like taking the train to come to work and like getting set up. So no, if you like it, what's the general sentiment here? Do you like this interaction? And actually, hybrid doesn't work that bad. Actually, I'm glad I didn't ask IT to install some stupid stuff because my phone works just fine. So, right? Good. So do we do a poll on this or democratic vote, pollering? I don't know. I need some more sentiments. Who prefers fully online? You prefer fully online because you're from Rotterdam. You could, yeah. I think yeah. I'll talk about it with some of my colleagues, but I'm happy to see people because I think it just makes things cool. Okay, thanks so much. My chat obviously prefers online. That's so surprising. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. All right. Well, maybe we meet like once or twice, and we don't even have to meet for formal things. But we could just like do like a I don't know project pitch round or something like this. I'll think about it. Yeah? Maybe I can offer something complimentary. All right. So please go on and break my chat. Hey, if you are enrolled in DPRA, like it's starting at 11:15. Because otherwise I don't like kind of survive this. All right. And you know the other. Cool. Thanks a bunch for being here. And I'll see you guys at 11:15. And we are in a different room. Cheers, guys.